Eligible citizens have the option to vote by mail,
drop their ballot off at a drop box, or get a ballot at a voting location like the one here at the Cub. Behind me here is the very balcony that Sue Halley witnessed a sex worker throwing down money to her pimp prior to the FBI raid.
Not 10 minutes ago, the WSU Arboretum here was swarming with zombies trying to take flags from runners. But as the race draws to a close, the zombies have since evacuated.
Due to rising temperatures, each summer brings with it a hazardous and unpleasant smoky season from surrounding wildfires. This smoke affects everyone, including local farmers. For some, a rainy Saturday morning means sleeping in, cozy under the covers. For others, it's the perfect time for a 5K race.
I was really not expecting a lot of people to show up, but we had 120 people registered, and I think we at least had 100 people show up.
Hosted by the WSU Student American Veterinary Medical Association, or SAVMA, the race has been held annually since 2016. Runners pay a $20 entry fee, and all proceeds go towards the WSU Rabies Free Africa campaign.
So the Rabies Free Africa campaign with the Allen School of Global Health, it does research and sends vaccines to vaccinate dogs over in Eastern Africa with the goal of eradicating rabies by 2030, I believe.
Margaret Knox and Holly Hinnon are respectively the junior and senior SAVMA community outreach chairs, and by virtue of their positions, they're responsible for putting on the race.
This year we've raised over, I think we're probably close to $4,000 now.
We're really excited that we could give back to the Rabies Fund.
It's almost like this unseen thing that, because we don't really deal with it too much in America, but sort of reminding yourself that, it is a bigger issue in different parts of the world.
To add a motivational twist, runners are also equipped with football flags and are chased by zombies for a 1-mile loop around the Arboretum.
Not 10 minutes ago, the WSU Arboretum here was swarming with zombies trying to take flags from runners. But as the race draws to a close, the zombies have since evacuated.
This is double the participants we had last year, so just that it's grown so much and we're able to have this big of an impact and have this much support has been incredible. And then that we're apparently putting on a run that people really enjoy and want to get wet and cold for, it has been really great.
Reporting in Pullman, I'm Danny Flynn.
I'm probably going to pop your bubble because there's lore and then there's fact.
On October 14th, we drove 2.5 hours from Pullman, Washington to Wallace, Idaho to discover the truth for ourselves. At first glance, Wallace, Idaho is just another small town and state. However, a lush history of mining, men, mayhem, and madams keeps tourists intrigued. Wallace produced 21% of the world's mined silver for over 100 years. This boom made Wallace home to miners, brothels, and saloons.
You could pretty much go anywhere you wanted to and play.
As a mining community with a playful attitude, Wallace became notorious for its permissive approach toward gambling, drinking, and prostitution.
Brothels were just a part of life.
Eddie and Brenda Johnson owned Johnson's Gems in the heart of downtown Wallace. Eddie grew up in the Silver Valley and was a teenager while the brothels were active.
One of the things that we used to do was we would go to the grocery store and get our fishing license. Because you can get a fishing license at any age. Scratch it out and put our birthday a little further along.
Executive Director of Sierra Silver Mine Tours, Sue Halley, recalls an incident from the height of Wallace's red light district.
I saw this a couple of times where the girl would be upstairs and she'd open the back window and the big black car would drive up down below and the money would come out.
Behind me here is the very balcony that Sue Halley witnessed a sex worker throwing down money to her pimp prior to the FBI raid. As a result of the AIDS epidemic, prostitution showed signs of a steady decline through the 80s.
The brothels had already closed. It was during the AIDS epidemic still, and most of the girls were working on the streets of Spokane, so they could not get girls to come into the houses.
Still, gambling continued to thrive until 1991 when the FBI swarmed the town looking for evidence of corruption, gambling, and drug dealing. The FBI orchestrated a 3-year sting operation in the greater Wallace area.
But they already knew where everyone was and what everyone was doing. So why it took them 3 years, I don't know. Maybe they enjoyed their job just a little too much.
Finally, on June 23, 1991, 150 FBI agents, accompanied by SWAT teams, raided Shoshone County with 60 search warrants. They raided 58 bars and seized over $500,000 in cash and gambling machines.
31 years ago, the FBI came through this door at Silver Corner and gave the bartender this search and seizure warrant.
Mike Brandstetter was the defense attorney representing the bars. He argues that the raid was merely a front to get at Sheriff Frank Sinkovich, who the federal government thought was corrupt.
If they really wanted to stop gambling, they could have arrested 2 guys. But they had to get out and seize everything and try to make a link to Frank Sinkovich.
Since the raid, Wallace locals have redefined the town.
But we made it, got through it. Now we cater to tourism.
Cultural tourism is our museums and of course our mine tour. And we have a lot of recreational opportunities.
Small business owners have really made the Wallace area come back, and they are very committed to making it beautiful for all of our guests that come here.
Wallace today is preserved by the Historic District and locals who are proud to call Wallace home.
Everybody loves Wallace. We love Wallace, and we really do support all of the businesses and fundraisers, that kind of thing.
And we are the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Rather than shying away from it, Wallace embraces the sordid parts of its rich history, and this merely scratches the surface in this town of intrigue. Reporting from the center of the universe, I'm Alice Huber.